Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those of you who don't identify as either, welcome to today's PTMA podcast, the weekly live Q&A with myself, Sir Anthony Leslie Park, Sky Elizabeth, Purple Belt, ASCII Hill, and some little bald prick called Nick.
He managed to diss you after including Leslie in his name.
Sorry, it went too serious and I needed a little bit of, you know what I mean?
Sir.
Sorry, Nick. You got it today. I'll pick on Sky next time.
Always get it.
Oh, is everyone all right?
Oh, don't shout. Why are you shouting on a Monday morning?
For that to uplift you.
Have you had any kind of C4?
Yes.
How could we have guessed?
Snorted it.
30 minutes ago, it was like this. But...
30 minutes ago, we were talking about fucking marketing.
8 a.m. versus 11 a.m. is a very different kind of beast.
Yeah, I'm a fucking naughty bastard at this time.
You've been eyeball pulling it, shot it in your eye or something. Oh, God.
Bring in the energy. Bring the energy. Come on. First question. Let's go.
Well then.
Do you guys ever miss coaching fitness clients as your main job? Nick.
Why?
I still do it.
Yeah, that was my thought.
Yeah.
Why do you still do it?
Because
I'd miss it.
No, I wouldn't if I was ever going to go back.
It does say main job though. That was
I don't miss one-to-one. No, don't miss one-to-one.
I do.
No, group.
Group is less intense. It's more varied, fun. I feel like I actually get to coach a lot more.
Yeah, 100%.
But I was thinking today about if I could run in like a little experiment where I just go and start at a Pure Gym or a JD or something and just see how quickly I could fill my business in a month or like 2 months. I think I could. Do you know, like it's just as a case study. Here is what I did. Here is how I went from 0 to 20 hours a week or whatever I set myself as the goal. Don't you ever feel like doing that just as an experiment?
Yeah, loads.
Yeah, we used to say that quite a lot, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I miss it as a main job though? Sometimes I do actually, yeah. Sometimes I do, but I think I've just shifted. Very similar to Nick, I think group, but I think I've just shifted in relation. I do enjoy coaching like in different capacities. Like I was sending someone a Loom video of their new program on True Coaches today and I really enjoyed talking through the context behind it and all of that. And then I enjoy this still coaching element to the kids' football and stuff like that. There's still massive parts of that. But yeah, so the in-person coaching, I do miss it to a point, but it'd have to be group. I agree with Nick.
Yeah.
Therefore, and to be honest, the blokes that I have on this fucking program that I've had for ages don't need much coaching. So that's probably why there is a hint of me missing it sometimes. I think I just do a Loom video for Loom video's sake now to feel like I'm fucking coaching. They don't even want it anymore. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
All right, lads. I'm just going over my importance here just to remind you. Do you know what I mean? No one gives a shit.
I do think that, like I had someone put in my question box yesterday, what advice would you give for someone just qualified as a PT and wants to be an online coach? And I feel like everyone wants to jump to be an online coach, like it's a really attractive job. And to me, if I didn't do some form of in-person training, I think I'd lose my marbles. Like it's so boring and lonely and everyone thinks it's really glamorous and fun and you can be where you want when you want, but sometimes you can't because you've still got to do calls. You can't just sit in a coffee shop and do a call. And if you're not doing calls, it's just you on your own at a desk most of the day. You don't interact with other people unless you go out and train or go to wherever you're going to go. So I'm always baffled or kind of like,
yeah.
It's funny that people think that's the end goal. Like, oh, I just want to be online and it's going to be great. And it's such a, like, if you enjoy people and coaching and fitness, I think you should always aim to have an element of coaching in person, whether that's group, whether that's a couple of one-to-one clients, whether that's classes.
Yeah, I agree. I could talk about this all night in regards to, we've been online coaching in theory now, Nick. How long? Can you hear that drilling, by the way?
10 years.
Fuck's sake. Yeah, something like that. So that's probably why we feel like sometimes we miss it. And that's why we got back into coaching, because we definitely missed it. And when we went into it, I think me and Nick, although we might not show it, are slightly happier people for it. You know what I mean?
You'd never know.
Next question. Not a question, but a statement, but it might be a good talking point. Pushing through thinking an idea is completely rubbish, but actually getting it finished and not procrastinating. It's not really a question. I think it's more of a statement. But thing, put some context behind this. Like when you've got an initial idea, is following through on that idea and bringing that idea to life and getting started with it is a big sticking point for a lot of people, right? Whether that's a lead magnet or marketing or throwing out this webinar for clients or whatever, like the ideas are there. You're doubting yourself on the idea, and then that gets kicked down the road, kicked down the road, and kicked down the road. So thoughts, advice?
I think there's two different ways to look at this. I think the first thing is, if you don't remotely believe in it, it's gonna fucking fall flat on its face. And it's normal to kind of doubt if it's good or if it needs more. There's normal to have those thoughts. But if you don't from the very first moment think, I would get value out of this, or I would be happy if my family member had this service from somebody else. If you don't have those thoughts, then you need to go back and refine it until you do. Anything that I put out there, I think, would I be happy if my mum purchased this from another coach, or did this service, or did this thing, or came to me and said, I'm doing this challenge? Would I be happy with that? And would I think, oh yeah, that's a good idea? I also think you need to know your market, and it's not just something that you've seen somebody else do and have success with, or you feel like it's been put on you by somebody else, or it's an idea you've taken that you would never normally do. If it doesn't fit you, again, it's going to fall flat on its face. But then on the flip side of that, you're always going to have doubt, and sometimes you've just got to fucking do it to get the feedback, to make it better and see if things are missing. Like, you're never going to know until you put it out there. So those are my when I'm thinking about launching or doing anything, it's normally based off feedback I've had or something that people are constantly asking me about, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna put something together for this, whether it's a webinar, whether it's a resource. And then the second thing is just put it out there and refine it as I go.
Yeah, I think that's a shout and a half. Shout and a half. Oh,
I can't now. Okay, I'm gonna skip through.
so Anne, when starting a new programming block, how could you introduce it? One bit of feedback from someone was, sorry, let me just expand this so I can't see the full question. So start again. When starting a new programming block, how would you introduce it? One bit of feedback from someone was how they felt they didn't get an introduction for the new block. I'm obviously asking what they mean by that. But how do you introduce a new block without it being, can't say that word. Can you pronounce that word?
Onerous.
Onerous. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Siri. Do a Siri.
It's just something that involves a great deal of effort.
Some of these words. Learn something every day. Before the first session, in the first session, a bit of both. Thoughts on a postcard, please.
Sorry, this noise next door with the work is dead distracting. But personally, I would probably do a video of me talking through the program that everyone gets. A bit like I did it yesterday, and I probably get more buzz out of it than the blokes now, like I said before. But clearly your clients want and need it, and I think by the looks of it, it's going to land really well. So I would probably do a video of you walking through it, the context behind it and why. It doesn't have to be War and Peace. The way I break mine up is I'll give a really short 2 or 3 minute video at the start to go, these are the KPIs of the block, this is what we're focused on, these are my reasons why for that. And then I'll just do a short video on each day, what to expect, what we're looking at, the slight tweaks and changes, and all of that. So all in all, they might have 4 or 5 videos depending on the program length, but they're just short and snappy. So I would do that, and I would probably build that up as well. So let's say, for argument's sake, they do 12-week block, then you do your testing week, for argument's sake, then you do a deload. And then in the deload week, I would start to send these videos and go to get you excited for the next block, or terrorized because they're worried about certain things and exercises in, and just to ease the pain slightly and have a bit of a laugh with it and all of that. So I find it creates a good atmosphere as well in group coaching, that they've got something to look forward to, whether that is nervously or excitingly in the fact that it's new and it's challenging and all of that. So that's what I would do.
I'm just thinking what we do in the gym, and we don't do that. We just do it in person at the whiteboard when we're going through the session. So I don't know if this person does that, where at the start of the session, if it's a group, you're talking through, this is what we're doing today, this is how it feeds into the whole of the next 12 weeks. And that's kind of what we do. And we do it with every session that we deliver. For instance, we were working on getting stronger pulling from the floor to feed into Olympic lifts. So we were doing a lot of like deficit deadlifts and no touch deadlifts. So every time they came back up in the program, we just explained that was feeding into this, which is going to feed into this. So I think you can probably do both, and it depends what you think is best for those people. Do they prefer to kind of know what they're turning up to and why that's in there, or are they happy to have it explained, as long as they know once they get into that session why they're doing it and why and how it feeds into the bigger picture. But yeah, we just do it in person. And whenever we start a new block, we just explain this is the purpose of this block. So you're going to expect to see this come up repeatedly. So yeah, I think you can do both.
I think both is massively important. I think I agree with Ant in regards to build, like we always talk about future pacing clients, right? And that's a massive part of it. Like if you're bringing this a part of the community from away from the sessions, then think about like, right, we're introducing, right, for the next 12 weeks, 8 weeks, this is the aim, this is the focus. These are the new movements we're going to start to introduce. Next couple of days are going to be little videos introducing them. And then, like you said, Sky, reiterating the stimulus, the aim behind each session, then all kind of derives around that kind of focal point of the block. So I think both is hugely, hugely beneficial. So yeah, good question. I like those questions.
Is there any real benefits from starting a new Instagram account, especially if you're not so active on your current and maybe wanted to start a fresh page?
Benefits. I think probably more so than anything else, it's probably more of a benefit and a reset for you psychologically versus anything else, particularly. Yeah, I would say so. I think that's probably how I would probably be looking at and viewing it. Don't know if there's any type of particular benefit from an algorithm point of view. Probably is a little bit, maybe, if it's completely dead, but
Yeah, I've seen a few people do it recently.
I think it's more of a reset for you.
I think, one, you have to ask yourself, why aren't you active on the one you currently got? And why is that drawing? Like, is it because you think it's dead and that's what's drawing you to create a new one? But I think if you're going to create a new one, the people that I've seen do it recently that have got a lot of traction and are building quite an engaged audience, they've had like a very clear plan and they've been super, super consistent. Like one of my friends, she posted today, she made a new account and she posted 35 times in 3 weeks. So that's more than once a day. And she's, getting really good engagement, getting a lot of good feedback. She's driving people to her email list. So I think if you're going to start a new account, you need to have a very clear plan and execute it very well rather than just starting it for the sake of starting it and then again not being very active on that one because you're going to end up in the same position.
And any thoughts? Not the most important question: sweet or salty popcorn?
Neither.
Why
Said
not?
Sweet.
what I said. Said what I said.
Sweet.
Because you're
Sweet.
salty enough.
That's correct.
Right. If
Don't like
this... Go on.
You don't like popcorn?
It's all right. It's a bit of a waste of air.
It is a little bit. I'd agree with
It
that.
just like melts in your mouth. No, I'm not really bothered about that. But if this person is only listening to this podcast to hear when we talk about sweet or salty,
Definitely is.
you need to give his head a fucking wobble, to be honest. All the mysteries in the world, and that's what you want to know.
I think the same person had the cereal question.
What the soup was.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a different person.
Big debate.
Next question.
What's 1 to 3 important things you believe the highest performers in the fitness industry who own coaching businesses have in common and or do regularly?
Well, I'll do the first one and then go from there, plainly because that's sound in the background. The first one is extremely disciplined with their focuses, priorities and time, and go all in on that and making sure that they're very, very self-accountable to their schedule throughout the week.
Yeah, mine was kind of the same, but the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that was they work when they don't want to. They're working when other people won't, I think. When I think about people, I think they are working on unsociable hours and doing stuff that other people won't be doing in times when they won't do it, I think, which is kind of like that, being very disciplined with what they want to achieve. You got to say
Nick?
something different now, Nick.
The third one is digging into metrics and understanding how they've got there. Yeah, like understanding like how things have happened. That is one of the...
You can hear the moans now, can't you, when Nick said that? Like, fuck off, Nick.
Right, fuck everyone.
A fourth one, though.
Hey, that's for free.
I know, but this one, I've been mulling this over all week, right? And it's every time something about AI comes up, and every time I open Instagram and I look at someone's post and I think, fucking hell, you've used ChatGPT, that's not your voice. But I think the coaches or the people that are the highest performers have a very strong personal brand. People know who they are, they know their voice, they know their opinions, they know their values. They're not kind of, and I don't mean that everybody hides, but they're not sitting behind wishy-washy language. They're not hiding behind lots of written posts. Unless you can do written posts that sound exactly like you, I think the people that are going to go further in this industry now are the ones that are able to talk to camera, do long form, do podcasts, put their voice across. Whereas what we're finding, or I'm seeing at the minute, is unless you're using before and afters, if you cannot communicate exactly what you fucking do and what the outcome is, because that's what you get from a before and after. You see, this is the outcome, this is the time frame. So unless you can do that, you're not going to be a high performer in the industry.
Yeah, I'd agree. That's the number one, actually. Yeah, because you can kind of look at, we could probably name 5 to 10 people right now that have no more ability than any of the real coach. And actually that coaches kind of look at and sometimes moan about, but those people aren't afraid to put themselves out there and just speak from who and show who they are. And that's the only differentiator.
Mm-hmm.
When you dig into these people's programs that are look to have, hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of followers, brand deals, all this kind of stuff. If you look at the service, it doesn't touch I would put it out there and say the majority of the people we work with services 100%, but it's what's missing is personality, isn't it? Not the guys haven't got personality, but putting it out there.
Yeah.
Next question, please.
What's your proudest gym achievement?
You want a week injury free? My proudest gym achievement is probably.
Is this like a performance thing? I'm asking.
It must be. I don't know. I don't know. It said proudest gym, isn't it? Like, my proudest gym achievement is having my 14-year-old daughter absolutely keen as going to 2 or 3 IROC sessions a week with Sky and smoking it, and actually loving the process of performance. And hey, you're doing it so young because of how it's been around her from so young, but not being a young girl focused on aesthetics or focused too much on aesthetics and more on performance at such a young age. That is the fucking proudest thing ever in the last 25 years of me training.
God, we can't follow that.
No, I can't, can we?
Top dollar that. Right, we'll leave it. Fucking move on.
Nearly cried then and everything. Nearly cried.
Oh, you're so close.
Who was that for?
What skills would you say are crucial to have learned in order to run a successful online business?
Everything we just fucking said.
Listen, that's hard though, isn't it? Because skills is like, it is what we've just said. A lot of that is will. Mm-hmm. What we've just said. A lot of that is will. So this is talking specifically about skills, and I think it is a separate question. So go on, I'll let you answer it first because I answered the last one.
Skills. I genuinely think, because up until recently I was delivering a level 3 PT course, and actually one of the things that the learners really struggled with was just technology in general and just using tech. And I think if you're not tech savvy, but you have to keep up to date with different platforms, you have to keep up to date with how to communicate with different people, I think that is a skill that people should have. So if you're someone that's been a bit like old school, pen and paper diary, in person, you're going to have to get used to email lists, social media, I don't know, maybe LinkedIn, all these different things. I think those are they're still not skills, but I think learning different skills to make your life easier online, you're going to need to do. What other skills? I think, I can't think of any more. I'll let you two answer and then see if anything else pops up. Communication, obviously.
Yeah, online coach. There's the obvious things like making your life easy with technology, like you just said there. And listen, it's never easy, and everybody starts not knowing how to send an email on MailChimp or whatever. Everyone starts there. It's pushing through that and accepting that you're going to have to fucking face into that. I think that's a huge thing. Putting it off longer is only going to make your life harder. I think the other elements are, I think accompanying that is resilience and building the skill of dealing and managing your emotions with business. It doesn't particularly come with just being online, but like you mentioned earlier, largely you're going to be by yourself. So being able to deal with that by yourself is going to be important, and building at the resilience of those elements. And 100% communication. You haven't got the luxury of spending hours with people on the gym floor face to face. So you're going to have to start building the skill of communication and feedback. It is going to be massive. Yeah, huge. Anthony?
The only things that I would say is, obviously marketing skills, sales skills are needed, but they can be learned, and clearly we're evidence of that they can be learned on the job, as long as you've got a mindset of failing and learning from failings. So they're skills that you will develop over time, and clearly you can accelerate that by probably educating yourself within us and without the industry and all of that from a marketing and sales perspective. But the only other one that I would mention that if I was to go back and go, actually, I wish someone would have given me more advice to spend more time on, that is like just understanding a little bit more on human behavior and different personalities and how they receive communication. So a bit like you just said, because a lot of the time it's not knowing more, it's knowing the person more. And I think a lot of coaches put a lot of pressure on themselves to deliver information and solutions, when really we just have to develop, from an online perspective, a decent understanding of the person on the other end of the phone or whatever. Because a lot of the time we overthink that we're not doing enough or we're not, and it's the reason why we're not getting results. So I think the more you understand human behavior and communication and coaching, the better you are going to be at running an online business, because you're going to get results for people and the results will sell, which will help your marketing. That will be all. Next question, please. I've been talking a lot recently about how I sometimes hold myself back when it comes to success in life. Do any of you feel like you get in your own way with your business? Maybe with overthinking big decisions, waiting until the right time, or trying to do things perfectly? What a question.
Great question.
I don't know where we're up to with responses, so I'll go Nick first.
I feel like I'm getting my own way. Maybe a couple of years ago, yeah. I think more recent, maybe this year, maybe the last 12 months, no. I think you just get better at getting things to a point where you're like, fuck it. You got to get it out and you got to see what happens and experiment, because even though there are principles to marketing, like markets, social media, especially online, people get savvy, things change. Look at what's happened this year alone with AI. It's just taken over, and it is taking over. So you've got to be adaptable, but and you've got to be willing to fail and kind of learn from shit. I think a lot of the time when you're holding yourself back from doing stuff, it's from the fear of failure. And I think having the mindset of business is constant, and whether you put a lead magnet out today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, or you do a campaign or a launch or whatever. We've just had the discussion this morning about doing two things simultaneously. We could go either way. There's 3 options, but you can only pick one, and you can only go all in on one. So if we put things off and kind of right, no, let's do it at the right time, you will fucking get nowhere. End of the day, you've got to be really willing to think of business as a constant and not if I do this and it doesn't work and everything's failed and I can't do it. You've got to fail your way forward at the end of the day and not get caught up with like nuances. And if you are thinking that, then it's probably something that is very, very true and relevant. And the only way you're going to get over that is by taking more imperfect action. So that is my TED Talk today.
Sky, go on.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I read it before, and I don't think I feel like that now, but I certainly did. Years ago, I definitely did. And then I would resent other people that had been in the industry less time than me, that seemed to be seemingly more successful. And I don't know if it just comes with time, and like Nick said, you just do it more, and then you build up resilience, or you get less emotionally attached, or you just get a bit braver at putting stuff out there. But I also found that when I peeked behind the curtain of other things, I've been around enough mentors and coaches and experienced different things from people that you start to see that like you think you're doing the worst and that people are doing way, way more than you, and they're not. They're just braver than you. They're just putting stuff out there more. They're putting themselves out there more, or they just have confidence that you need to find. And the more that I realize, like, everyone's kind of just fumbling along, trying stuff, refining it, trying stuff and refining it, that gave me the confidence to do the same, to try it. And it sounds cheesy as fuck, but I don't know who said this to me or where I've got this from, but something that I always kind of say to clients is, if you never try, you always fail. So what's the fucking point? Like, just, there's no perfect time. Nothing's going to be perfect. Just do it, move forward, review it, try again. And that's it.
Cracking little quotes in there, isn't there? Doesn't
he edit some like Greek methodical music in the background there?
No. Make it black and white and put some like music on.
That's great.
I think my emails are falling into spam promotion inboxes as my opening rates have dropped off suddenly. How would you increase email opening rates beyond using more curiosity-based subject lines?
Make your emails better.
There you go.
are very unhelpful. It's all well and good using a curiosity-based headline, but if people get to the main bit and it's lackluster, they ain't going to open them emails.
Nick, you answer. This drilling started again and it's fucking doing me nothing. Sorry. Go on, Nick.
The simple ones are like having a domain, getting double opt-in on emails. Apart from that, there's not a huge amount that you can do from that tech side of things. There's a couple of different things, right, with emails. You've got to accept that unless you're constantly filling up more emails coming into your mailing list, that number is going to start to go down. So if you're doing that haphazardly, or it's only like small, tiny little numbers coming through, then you're probably going to find that, first of all, unless people are there for a very, very specific reason, and knowing this person, consistency has been a challenge, and on emailing, though this person has got better, and also message has been a challenge. It's been very stop, start, chop, change. Consistency on the message, consistency on not curiosity-based subject lines, subject lines, preview lines. They're going to be your biggest differentiator to people opening emails or not. Giving people a compelling reason to come onto your email list is going to be a big differentiator. Consistency of sending those emails out is going to be a big differentiator, and also consistently filling that mailing list up with fresh new leads.
I was going to say that the other option is just keep adding more people and get your opening rate up.
Well, your opening rates are going to not be, you're never going to be constantly going up in opening rates. That's like, but you can constantly kind of keep it around the same number, I feel. But if you've got 300 or 400 people and that number is starting to go down, number one, or your opening rate starting to go down, then people are starting to become either stale, got what they needed, moved on, or they haven't opened your emails because of consistency and it's going to their junk email. They're the reasons. So hopefully that gives you some tips. Get better at emails.
Last question, please.
Challenge ideas for clients if you feel like you've done most already.
I would ask yourself 2 questions. First one would be, if you've done most, do you need another one? Is it a challenge that they need? The only way you're going to know is go out and ask clients what it is that they want and need from some form of accountability, because that's what it's for, right? And the other one is challenge yourself. Have you challenged yourself to take all of the challenges that you've done and ask your clients which ones they want to do next, which ones they preferred and got feedback on them, because then the decision will come from them and not you. So I don't think it's about standing on here and listing more, because there's a fair few that we could list. Probably exercise-based will be here all day in regards to giving you different suggestions that you could run, because there's loads of fun ones that you can do. But if you've had a decent response to them, and that's why you've done lots of them, that's amazing. It's great feedback. But then what I would do is then throw all of them into your group, ask your clients which ones that they found most beneficial and they like the most, and then we get them to pick and then put it in. But what I would say is that also, is it time for a break from a challenge to do something different? All questions for you to ask your clients with. So sticking that right back on your toes, I could.
Think further to add, Your Honour?
Nick?
Nothing more.
There's no more questions anymore. Anything would you like to end this with?
Do you have a quote for us, Ant? We've given a couple of quotes. Do you have one for today?
There you go.
Look at his thinking face, fucking hell.
Your mess is your message. Like that one?
Did you just make that up?
Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. I heard that from someone else, and I don't know where it's just come from. Maybe it's because I feel a bit of a mess here at the minute and I've got loads to do.
Sound? That's your
So
message?
I'm going to share that on my message on my stories now. Apart from that, I haven't got anything left, really. We need to have a little meeting about the coaching mentorship now, don't we? Quick. Apart from that, see that little plant of the seed there? You see that? Hey! Hey! Hey!